We're doing something a little different this year. I mean, it's a lot different. It's exciting. The past 2 years when we've done our kind of year-end summation episodes, we've just each picked our three best films of the year, our three worst films of the year, and then we turned that into one episode. What we're doing here, as you've probably deduced, because you're very smart people, we're doing them separate, and we're each picking 5.
Number 5?
So we're extending our list to 5, and we're gonna do, this is our best, our top 5 best films of the year episode, and you will be able to see our bottom 5, the worst. The worst of the worst. Oh my God. I'd be throwing up in my mouth just thinking about some of those films. But this is exciting. And we always want to preface this conversation of the top 5s with, these are our subjective choices. So we're saying these are the 5 films that we saw that we liked and we also thought were good.
Yes.
Our favorites.
Yes, it's a little bit of combination. I enjoyed it to some degree, and I can see the craft or the fact that it is a good quality filmmaking as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to say this episode, the best episode, we're more here for Everett because nothing about me says the best of anything.
Being a loser is actually a superpower.
I'm more of a worst guy. so
we each have our strengths.
Yes. Ev has quality strengths and I have strengths that you... Never mind. Like when you see a drawing from like a toddler, you're like, great job. Those are my strengths.
This is real art because it's true and it's honest. It's not trying too hard. It should also be said, we haven't seen every single movie of the year. Like we try, by we, I mean me, we give it a really solid attempt. But we, haven't seen them all, so there might be a couple on here. I think I've seen this year most of, like 95% of like the awards favorites. So I'm coming from a little more experience here than I think most years.
Yeah, I've seen more this year than I've seen in the past as well. I'm at present day, I'm probably at 75%. I'd say I feel like I've seen most of them at this point. There are 1 or 2 or maybe 3 that I need to see in terms of the award season. But there's also a handful of movies that I think are really good or could be really good that aren't really mentioned in the awards, but I think are really good quality or appear to be good quality films. That I also there's only so much time. You don't pay us for this, so follow us on Patreon. Subscribe to
start
Patreon.
paying us for this.
Yeah, and I'll watch every goddamn movie.
Huh?
I said I'll watch every movie possible if you just...
I will watch movies as a full-time job and sit in front of a camera for you. Okay?
For you, not for me.
Yeah. Sit on my piles of money like Scrooge McDuck as a YouTube superstar.
Yeah.
You're keeping this from us. I just want to...
Stop
that should be a new
gatekeeping.
bit. We just lash out at viewers.
Yes.
These very kind first-time viewers who just stumble upon the page
like,
oh,
what's
who are
this?
You guys? Like, you pieces of shit, send us money. Fund my dreams. Seriously though, Patreon, link below. We love you.
Only half joking. Let's continue.
Just outside of my top 5, my honorable mentions include the film Anatomy of a Fall, which was just a brilliant, affecting film. I liked a great deal. Priscilla, Sofia Coppola's on Priscilla Presley, which I thought was, in a sea of biopics, I thought was good. Was very, very, very good. A small film called Theater Camp, which was a comedy film about a theater camp, which was an imperfect film, but very funny. Like, honestly, it was one of the first decent movies I saw this year. So like in July, I was like, is Theater Camp the best movie I've seen so far? It's like, it was a desert. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. First time those 2 films were listed back to back in any list. I thought that film had a couple problems, but was really, really good. It was just like a very entertaining, affecting time. Wes Anderson's Asteroid City, I thought was very good, and like many people, I think we're undervaluing Wes Anderson and we're taking him for granted. I don't think that movie's in any of the awards conversations, and it's a very good movie.
I feel like I've heard the opposite of that movie. I feel like I've heard in the internet sphere that movie was not good. But maybe I could be wrong.
The internet sphere as is so often the case, is incorrect. It's a good movie.
Am I correct in saying that that's how people feel about it, like kind of generally, that it was just not just a miss?
I don't know that there's like a consensus. I do think people are just kind of like, oh, Wes Anderson movies, they're all the same. So I think there's kind of that energy, like, oh yeah, it's a Wes Anderson movie, which means it's entertaining and you don't take it that seriously. But like, it's a good movie. It's I don't know, one of his 3 or 4 best, I would say.
You think so? Wow.
Yeah. Like he deserves more credit. No Hard Feelings, I thought was very enjoyable. We've talked about this a little bit off camera. Just a good comedy that it was not revelatory, but people should be making those. It was very enjoyable. And I really enjoyed the film Leave the World Behind on Netflix. 2 others, They Cloned Tyrone. I was really trying to find a way to put They Cloned Tyrone into my top 5. I couldn't do it. But I really thought that was like a really good movie. Did you see They Cloned Tyrone?
I have not.
Okay, it was very good. And it's just another, issue I have with streaming in general is you have these movies with movie stars that are exciting and interesting and different and should be bringing people to the theater, helping elevate cinema in a way like oh yeah, this art form is really profound. And it just goes to Netflix in July, and people talk about it for 5 days and then it just disappears and you never hear about it again.
Yeah.
And that sucks because I think They Cloned Tyrone was a really cool, fun movie. And my last honorable mention is the film Ferrari, which no one is talking about. And I almost want to do a whole episode on Ferrari because, like, it's a Michael Mann film, prestige, famous director. It has an incredible cast. Two very good performances. Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. Penelope Cruz, to me, gives one of the 5 or 6 best performances I saw this year.
You were supposed to save him! You promised me he wouldn't die!
Like, really, and the film is solid. Like, it's not like, oh my God, so great or perfect, but it's like very good. The film's on my top 10 list if we were going past 5. And it's just silence. There's just no one talking about it. No awards buzz. I would want to study it a little bit. Like, why?
Well, that's the interesting part about awards. I mean, we should probably save this conversation for the Oscars episode, which we will be doing, I assume, in the coming weeks as well. But the fact that you have to campaign for it, the fact that you have to have a buzz about the film, that there needs to be some sort of story around it, there needs to be chatter around it, like the fact that that's such a pronounced thing, you have to spend money to market the film, to get awards, to me is a flaw within the system, because if that is part of the process, then we're not judging solely on the art. We're not judging the piece on what the piece does well or doesn't do well. And that may just be a victim of not being sort of popular in the right circles, which is unfortunate for that film.
Yeah. I went to this party that Universal threw for Oppenheimer, and there was some pretty good pate. I'm gonna give it the push.
I only have 2. You named one of them, and I feel like my honorable mention is going to get me in more trouble than it is going to be fun. I also liked No Hard Feelings. That was the thing where I wanted to find a way to put it in my top 5. I couldn't, unfortunately. And to your point, exactly what you said. It's just a movie that should exist, a rated R comedy. It's not terrible. It cares a little bit about story.
Cares a little bit about story. It tries.
Yeah, it tries. It tries enough where I feel like most comedy films don't even try anymore. They're just like, joke, I poop my pants, the end. So it was great to see that. It's unfortunate that it didn't do well enough, I think, financially for those movies to return. I don't know if it saved comedy films. And then just outside my top 5 is Oppenheimer.
Wow.
It doesn't make my top 5, which I assume people are already turning off. So again, don't come here for me. Come here for Everett. He'll give you what you want. I have a little more nuanced take to film.
Oh, a little more nuance.
I'm not just the most popular, easy, slam dunk kind of films that everyone's talking about.
Keith did watch Oppenheimer on a plane.
I did.
The way it was meant to be viewed.
Yes, on a red-eye flight, on a laptop.
He was focused. He was invested.
I watched it nonetheless.
What'd you think? You want to talk about it later?
Well, I assume it's going to be in your top 5, so I guess we can just discuss
talk
a
about
little
it
bit. We'll talk about it later. So, number 5.
I'm really. I just can't. I have to tell you, I'm very excited to hear this top 5.
I feel like here's the thing. Well, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I think.
Okay.
I think. So here, my number 5 film is a film called Somewhere in Queens. Are you familiar?
I've heard of such things. I haven't seen it myself.
It is a Ray Romano joint. I believe written and directed by Ray Romano, starring also Ray Romano. And it is like an indie, I don't want to say comedy, but it's like it has funny moments to it, obviously, with Ray's tone, but it's not like a laugh out loud kind of comedy. It's sort of just like an indie vibe, heartfelt, emotional story about a father and a son and their relationship and sort of their own individual journeys and how those two journeys intersect. And I watched it a couple months ago, not thinking much of it, like just put it on. And I was so happy that a film like this was made. It's clearly a smaller budget. It's clearly a smaller story. It's a more intimate, character-driven story. And it's not revelatory. It's not going to blow your mind. I just think it's well done. It feels very authentic, very real, and it touches upon a piece of life that I think a lot of people in one way or another can relate to. So I love that it's not a big extinction level event or this epic tale. It's just like a personal family community story that I think is great. And I think it's just well told. It's got some light moments, some fun moments, some serious moments, some emotional moments, a little bit of everything. And I think really well done from Ray Romano. Very impressed with his efforts, which I believe is his first directing task. So congrats, Ray.
Everybody loves him.
Everybody loves him.
Oh, that's cool. It's interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, well, it's worth a watch if you have 2 hours.
My number 5 is a film called Poor Things. Yorgos Lanthimos, one of my favorite directors, the man behind The Lobster, which is one of my favorite films of all time, as viewers of the film know. Very polarizing film here on the Bluff Council.
The film sucks.
My 5th or 6th favorite movie of all time, Keith's least favorite film of all time.
Yes, that movie is awful.
Have you gotten a chance to see Poor Things yet?
I have not, unfortunately.
Oh, I eagerly await your reaction. Do a whole live stream reaction for us, Keith. I really liked Poor Things. This number 5 spot for me in the top 5 was really kind of my most contested. It was a lot of rotation. I thought Anatomy of a Fall, maybe. There was a time maybe Ferrari. Like I was really just struggling here. But I think Poor Things is just so unique. It is so original, as can be said about basically everything Yorgos Lanthimos does. It is very funny, but very weird. It has deeper themes. I love that in a year that is dominated by Barbie, Poor Things is sort of like the anti-hero Barbie. Like it's exploring similar themes.
It is the goal of all to progress, grow.
A woman plotting her course to freedom. How delightful.
In a much more interesting, subtle-ish way. Like it's like darker, weirder, it's twisted. It's this like twisted, weird fairy tale. And I love that it's getting so much attention because it's like gotten this kind of mainstream-ification. And there's a lot of people that are gonna watch this movie thinking like, what's this movie with this Emma Stone? I like her, it's winning all these awards. And they're just gonna be, their fucking skin is gonna be blown off their skulls because it's so weird. It is so weird and it's kind of gross and Emma Stone is just having sex the whole time and it's just like, it's very graphic. And so I just love that a weird graphic movie like this is gonna be somebody's grandma's gonna put it on and be like, what's this? Ah! Like and people are just getting exposed to films in a way, you know what I mean? It's like it's weird. And so to have something so weird be mainstream,
I think it's a silly reason to like a movie. I really like the movie because it's gonna surprise people and make them uncomfortable and force them to watch something they don't want to watch. Isn't this a good movie?
But it's all part of the same thing. It's that with like, it's also great and it's also so unique. So someone that sits and just watches Netflix all the time and goes this like you're seeing like an actual artist at work here. It's not fucking the gray man, like it's very good. And I've thought about it a lot since I watched it. I'm excited to watch it again. Emma Stone gives a phenomenal performance as she is prone to do. It is a very, very good film. I like it a lot.
I will watch it before our Oscars episode because it's in that conversation. So it's one of those movies I got to get
Fly out
to.
here and watch it with me so I can just stare at you.
I wouldn't give you the
watch
satisfaction. I wouldn't give you the satisfaction.
like I did with The Lobster.
Like, yeah, The Lobster was enough. I've watched that movie twice for you, and I regret both times.
I was playing golf and I'm quite tired. The last thing I need is some woman dying slowly and loudly.
I can't hear you with all the screaming. We'll talk some other time when it's quieter.
Yeah, we'll wait till our 5-year anniversary. We're just watching a 24-hour marathon like it's a Christmas story on TBS.
No. Can we get to my number 4? That's what people are here for.
Number 4, baby.
To learn about films they may not have heard, not your pop culture just list here. It's like BuzzFeed's top 5 movies is whatever it's giving you.
Yes.
But me, deep-rooted culture films. My number 4 film is a little film entitled Blackberry. Have you heard of it?
I have. I've seen Blackberry.
You've seen it?
Yes.
I think this film is great. I really, really enjoyed it. Again, not this big epic tale that makes you feel uncomfortable. Whatever. It's just a well-told story, and I think the performances from the 2 leads are really good. What I thought was the most interesting thing for me, how this film made me feel, was I think Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, his performance I think is excellent. I really, really think he nails this character, and I don't even know if this is how he is supposed to be in real life, of how he was. Maybe they made him more of a heel for the sake of the film. But like, I just think he crushes the performance, and it made me want to be that type of boss. I go like, this guy, he gets it. Work's important. Stop fucking slacking off and start yelling at people and calling them names and shit and treating them terrible. We're too soft. And he pointed that out to me.
Fudge your numbers so you can buy an NHL team or whatever.
Yes. Commit tax fraud, I assume.
Yeah. American dream, baby.
Exactly. You're getting it. I just really had a good time watching it. I typically don't like biopic kind of stuff on real life. I think it's a little bit cheating. That's for a different conversation. So this film really surprised me when I watched it. It's funny, it's interesting, performances are great. I definitely think if you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
Yeah, I thought Blackberry's a very solid movie. Probably the best I saw of all of those like product biopics that have become all the rage. The Tetris and Hot Cheetos. I didn't watch that one, but
I didn't even know there was a Hot Cheetos. I saw the Beanie Baby one too. With Zach Galifianakis
I'm not watching it. I don't care. But the Blackberry was good. I wanted to watch it because of Glenn Howerton, and I like Jay Baruchel as well. So yeah, that was a good movie. Good choice.
Yeah, they were both great.
My number 4 is a film called The Holdovers. I really, really, really like The Holdovers, obviously, and it was more about the film. The word that comes to mind for me with The Holdovers is restraint. I was really impressed by what this film didn't do. I'm a big Alexander Payne fan in general. I love Sideways, as so many people do. Election is one of my favorite films from that time period. Election was a very impactful film on me when I was younger in terms of the way that films can be in comedies, high school comedy that can be so adult and grown up and twisted. So I've looked forward to all of his work. And this movie, it really feels so warm and genuine, and it never takes like the big leap. I almost kept waiting for it to like have a big set piece or something really funny to happen, because Alexander Payne does a lot of really funny things. Lots of kind of like, not quite winks at the camera, but like a little bit self-aware humor, a little here's something for the smart people in the audience, like just little things. And this film never does anything like that. It just tells this really kind of straightforward, character-driven story that is sneakily, emotionally effective to me. Highlighted by some very great performances. Paul Giamatti and the actress, especially Divine. I'm not sure of her last name off the top of my head. They are two of the awards favorites. And I loved it. I loved it very much. It got done, and I just felt like what a great hug I just got from this movie.
I kind of, there's a part of me that wants to just do a whole episode on the Holdovers. I did like it overall. I think Paul Giamatti is fantastic and the best part of the film. I think his performance is the best part of the film. The thing that jumps out to me the most is Divine. I like her as an actress. I've seen her in a few things. She is not a bad actress. The thing I can't get over is her fake Boston accent. I think it is atrocious.
Yeah, he was a real asshole. Rich and popular combination around here.
I think it
and
is.
it's selective.
Oh my God, it comes and goes, and it's when it's there, it is terrible. It was so distracting for me.
My little sister Peggy and her husband invited me to go visit them in Roxbury, but
that I could not wrap my arms around the rest of her performance. For that reason alone, I cannot understand why this performance is getting the praise that it is getting. When that is, like, to me, just like...
As someone who lives in Boston, he should say.
I do live in Boston. That is true. But it doesn't even have to be, like, perfect. There doesn't even have to be, fucking Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Boston accent. It doesn't have to be.
Fuck you. Fucking quiz.
watch your mouth, young man. Not on Christmas Eve.
But I think this is like one of the like she is clearly doing a thing, and it takes me out so much. I couldn't get past it. I don't know how anyone else can. I don't know how you can, Everett, because you.
Oh, I didn't say I could. I was just trying to keep it short. But if you want to dive in,
that's my biggest takeaway. I didn't even know she was doing a Boston accent I said, why is she talking like that? I couldn't figure it out. And then it came around. I was like, oh fuck, that's what she's doing?
Like Curtis will think that I'm abandoning him, you know? This is the last place that my baby and I were together.
Oh, God. And so every time she spoke, I couldn't get away with it.
Sometimes she does it, sometimes she doesn't. It is distracting. I think she does a good job. I do. But I am
outside of that, yes.
Yes. Outside of the accent. But that is a huge part, like it's a huge part of her performance.
Yeah.
And even outside of the accent, I wasn't like, oh my God, she's the clear favorite as the best supporting actress of the year, which she's won all the awards in the lead up here.
Yes.
And so I'm a little bit, I mean, that might go back to the campaign aspect of this conversation where it's just something picks up momentum and that just becomes the truth. But I don't know. Like she's a fine actress who outside of that accent does pretty well.
Yes.
But that accent is a big part of the performance. And I just don't think she should be the slam dunk favorite personally. So I agree with you there.
Number 3, Leave the World Behind. It just fell out of your top 10, top 5, I should say. And it is number 3 at mine. I really, really like that film. I think the film achieved everything it set out to do. I think it was really tense 95% of the time. And it kept me sort of on the edge of the seat. I thought the directing was excellent. I thought the directing really leaned in. Everything, the performances, everything leaned into this sort of suspensefulness of this story. And again, I don't think it was revelatory. It was not a revelatory story or film. I just think it executed on every single level. Like it just did its job and it did it really, really well. I love all of the cast. Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali. I think everybody, like big stars doing big performances, great performances. Like it all worked. And then on top of it, I love the end. I'm trying to keep everything, no spoilers, just like top level sort of stuff here. But I love the nature of the ending, and it's a little ambiguous, and people have different opinions, and I just think that's what film is all about. It's a personal interpretation of what that story meant to you, and I when done well, it's awesome. So I can't say enough about how much I enjoyed watching that film.
Yeah, and enjoyment is a great summary of it. It was just very enjoyable. The vibes were immaculate. It was very tense. We were sitting on the couch like, oh, holy shit. Like, I just had a big grin on my face the whole time. Like, yes. Like, it never lost me. You keep thinking a film like that's going to take some sharp turn and screw it all up. But yes, I agree everything. Very well directed. That Mahershala Ali should be nominated for everything. He's amazing in everything.
He's
amazing
talented.
in this. The performances really elevate this film. I love like an apocalyptic-ish tale, a disaster event tale that's not about the disaster. It's about the people and their reactions to that. And I think that's what turned off some people.
But I said it to my wife when we watched it together. I said, midway through the film, I said, you know what? I'm going to hate the end of this film because when you parse out the information there's this mystery as to what is going on. The characters don't know, you, the audience, don't know. You're never going to be able to pay that off in a satisfying way, I thought at that moment. And I think the film really thread the needle with giving enough information, but not over-explaining it to a degree where you're just like, oh, gee, this? Like, you know what I'm saying? It didn't overcomplicate it, but it paid it off. It paid that extinction level event off in a satisfying enough way, but where it didn't deter from the human interest stories that the film's really about. That is super, super hard to do. And so another reason why I really like the movie.
Yeah, I think I think the reason that film isn't getting the credit or the kind of universal acclaim is the ending is divisive for a lot of people. But more importantly, more truthfully, the beginning is more divisive for a lot of people. And that is the moment in the opening credits when you see executive produced by Barack and Michelle Obama. Yeah. I think that a large percentage of the country and the world, and just so the way we are right now, which is unfortunate, immediately goes, fuck this. I'm not giving this movie a chance. This movie has some underlying agenda, some message. Fuck this. And if all that was different in that film was that said executive produced by Tucker Carlson, those people that claim to hate it would be like, this movie's fucking awesome. It's great. It's so smart. So it's like, if that's what turns you off about it, you're an idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it does. It does make it more frightening because apparently Obama consulted on a lot of these situations, which I, like many people, have started re-upping the old closet full of equipment and supplies since watching this film.
Yeah, it felt too accurate as to, oh yeah, no, that makes too much sense. Like of how how easy it could be to dismantle the United States from the inside out. Like it's fucking, oh boy.
If the fucking internet goes down for any extended period of time, 80% of the world is not going to know what to do.
Yes.
Like just like, and people start acting nuts when that happens. So be ready.
Be ready.
Be Kevin Bacon. Be Kevin Bacon.
We should all be Kevin Bacon. That's long story short.
Yeah. Hanging dong in Wild Things. Wild Things episode coming sometime this year. I'm saying it. I'm decreeing it.
Wow. All right. I guess so.
My number three is probably, if I was making an objective list, would probably be the best film of the year. I think this is the best film I watched by all artistic measurements. If I was in a class being taught by Stanley Kubrick and had to write an essay defending my choice, it would be this. And that is a film called The Zone of Interest. Are you familiar?
Sounds like something you'd like. I know of it.
Yeah.
I have not seen it. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. So please, enlighten me.
It is a rough hang. It is slow and it is dark. But
just the way you like it.
Yes. But it is so brilliant, and it's hard to call it beautiful, but it is in what it's doing. It is about a Nazi commandant's family that lives they're sharing a wall with Auschwitz in the middle of World War II. So he runs Auschwitz. He like helped found the place, and they live in this very pristine Eden-like home just next door. And so it is just and it is about it's a movie more about themes than it is about story. And But those themes are fascinating and executed in such a compelling way about the banality of everyday life and going on and worrying about the flowers and the garden and all these little day-to-day things when there's such horrors happening just over your shoulder. It is so good. I'm not going to tell you if you haven't seen it that you're going to have a great time. But like it's.
But if you like it, I know I will not have a great time. That is 100%.
If you want to challenge yourself and you don't watch a lot of this is a movie that's entirely in German, so it is a movie with subtitles. But it is so profound. The sound design, especially, my one specific shout out I'll give. I mean, the performances are great. It's all great. The sound design. There's just this constant burning of the furnace in the background, this lull droning of the furnace, which, we know what's happening there, in the background of all of these beautiful shots of this garden and this home and this family, and it just makes you sick the whole time you're watching it. But it's just I couldn't recommend it more.
It makes you sick to your stomach. You're gonna love it, guys. Just it really turns your stomach to knots. Enjoy. As
any good film should, it is affecting and will make you feel and make you think and linger with you for a long time. Very excellent work. It's not, it's too out there, I think, for total mainstream acceptance and a Best Picture award, but I expect to see it in the final 10, and it deserves all of its accolades. It's incredible.
All right. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Number 2, for me, my deuce.
Deuce and a half.
Deuce and a half. My number 2 film is Past Lives.
Oh, wow.
This movie is the movie I would want to make. Again, a personal story about love and loss and questioning how our lives unfold, fate. Is there more? Is there less? Is just that whole pondering about how life works and the situations that we are in and how we are all connected together, or is it real or is it bullshit? Like all that general theme of life and love and loss and wondering what if is just shit that I can really get behind. It is a beautiful story and heartbreaking to some degree, but makes you feel, I think, in a way that doesn't like make your stomach sick. It's just very relatable. I think everyone has feelings from their past about someone that they loved or cared about, and wonders what if and how our lives could have unfolded if one little thing went differently. And that's really at the heart of the story. It's again a small scale human interest, human relationship story, and that's really the theme I think of this year for me. The films that I really enjoyed, and this film is the best of that. I think I almost made it 1. I wanted to make it 1. I just think it's really good. I just think it's fucking good because it made me feel, and I just think it's great. So excellent job all around.
I think we should do an episode that is the Holdovers versus Past Lives, because I think this is the inverse here. I thought Past Lives was fine, I thought it was fine. I'll never watch it again. The way you described it at the beginning, a movie about fate and about what if we took different paths, and that sounds interesting. And this film to me did not deliver on that. I walked into it with maybe higher expectations than I should have had. I really wanted something that was kind of profound and had something really to say. I'm an easy crier. You can get me to cry while watching a movie, and this movie didn't do. I kept expecting it's gonna just get me at some point, and it just felt very kind of linear and simple, which I know is the appeal for a lot of people here. But it was just kind of boring. I found myself being oh God, this is. It's not even a slow burn because it never burns. It's just slow to me.
I
didn't love it.
That's fair. That's a fair criticism. I think that's sort of the essence of what the story is. I don't think the film is trying to do too much. I think it's letting you sort of feel around. Like there's so much unsaid in the film, and I think that's part of the what the film is trying to do is let the audience do a lot of the work. Maybe that's bad. Maybe that's not a great approach to just let your audience kind of interpret how you want. But I think that's a big part of it, is to sort of just let yourself pull from your own experiences, your own life. It's just like I love the shit when they're kids, because like just that youthful innocence, not just like that young of kids, but just like the idea of what love and human connection and sort of the naiveness that goes into the youthful side of that.
Yeah.
It's like 500 Days of Summer too makes me remind me of that sort of just like youthful energy of love, and you just like, you're so blissfully ignorant to like all of this. And then you become an adult and you realize things are a little bit different, but then if you touch that nerve again, well, how do you feel about that? Like, I don't know, I just love I'm sorry, I'm beating a dead horse.
It's a fascinating idea and thing to explore. And it's funny you bring up 500 Days of Summer. I brought that up too in the aftermath of watching that when I was talking about it with my wife. That like we both thought we would have liked a little more of them as children. And I thought, I wish they had done some sort of montage like they do at the beginning of 500 Days of Summer, where you see them both as children and building up that connection a little more. Because all we really get is 10, 15 minutes, 10-ish minutes of them walking home from school twice. And they don't really, like, not like, I don't need to see them making out and professing love for each other.
Well, they're
just
holding the hands and the car rides. I love that shit.
There's stuff there, but I just...
That's fine.
It didn't seem quite as profound to me over the course of however long, but that's just nitpicky. So
yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a good choice, Keith. I'm impressed. You're right.
Thank you.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Thank you. And there's subtitles.
Number
I had to
one
read.
is coming. Yeah, you did. My number 2 is a film called Killers of the Flower Moon, which you've all probably heard of. I don't have to say too much. It is an epic. It is a masterpiece in so many ways, by one of our greatest directors of all time, starring 2 of our most talented actors of all time, and Lily Gladstone, who gives a incredible performance. I think this film probably stayed with me more than any movie I saw this year, where 2 weeks after I watched it, I was just still I was feeling feelings about it. Like all of Scorsese's films, really, it's not a perfect film. Like I can pick apart some parts of that movie and say a lot of things that I wish had been done differently, or like, God forbid, that I would have done differently, or but it's such an incredible, the word that I see used so much with this film, achievement. It is remarkable, and very powerful and very sad, and it fucks with you, and I feel like the momentum has kind of sputtered, and I wish that it was still. I feel like not a lot of people didn't see it. It didn't do so well theatrically because it's so long and so heavy, and it's Leo isn't sexy. Like it's just like not a great time, obviously, but it's a phenomenal film, highlighted by maybe a career best Robert De Niro performance. I think it's a crime that Robert Downey Jr. keeps winning all these awards over Robert De Niro. No offense to Robert Downey Jr., who gives a great performance in Oppenheimer, but. I think De Niro is at a peak here, so I think the film is wonderful. You'll find it on a lot of top 10 lists, so it's not the most original choice, but it's a phenomenal film.
Yeah, just Google BuzzFeed list, and it'll be the same as Everett's. I have yet to see it, in full disclosure, but I will see it before we get to our Oscars conversation. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to suffer through it, because that's what we do with art. We suffer through it.
That's right. Watch The Zone of Interest while you're at it, you hack.
No thanks. I have standards. I can't. I'm not. There's certain lines I'm not going to cross. It's a good segue to my number 1. This is a film that when I was watching it, I hate this movie. Like, I did not like it, and I did not like watching it. I didn't like how the film just fucking, it leans into making you uncomfortable. It reminded me a little bit of The Lobster, since we were talking about it a little earlier. It reminded me of how I felt during that movie, where I go, I fucking get it. I get it. Enough. But without further ado, I think the best film of the year is Saltburn. That for me, I think it has everything the quote-unquote best film needs to have to be great. Why are you you're mad? You're mad?
Oh, we got to do a Saltburn episode. Saltburn narrowly escapes my worst 5 of the year. So
yeah, no, that's crazy.
I think we're gonna have to do Saltburn. You sick fuck. you fucking pervert.
I think it's good. I think it is so here's the thing, like, I will never watch it again. And I did not enjoy watching it. So this is me going outside my comfort zone and trying to respect the art for what I think it's trying to do. And I think don't laugh at me. It's hard to do this.
I'm sorry, you're very, very vulnerable. The operative word, though, with Saltburn is try. Because that movie is trying. It is trying hard, baby.
It is. I think it is doing its best to both be bold and brave and intelligent, but then also has some elements of the film that like trying to like mass audience sort of stuff. Like also just like make sure some of this stuff's in here so like people can understand what the fuck's going on. I think it's trying to do both things. I digress. I'm already thrown off because now I feel like I have to defend it rather than just say what I like about it.
Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
You prick. I can't wait to tear apart your number one.
This is the greatest development. This is the best. This is the high point of my day has already happened. You choosing Saltburn.
So I just think it does a lot of things well. I think it's really interesting. I think it's uncomfortable. I think I don't want to even say in a good way. Like I think the film sets out to do what it wants to do and it executes it. And I think that that's good for a film to do if that's the goal. And I think Barry Keoghan is fucking one of the best actors alive. I really think he is so fucking talented in everything that I've seen him in so far. I go, God, he's really good at this. I just think he's great. And you know the best part of this film is the editing. I was really blown away with the editing. I thought it was fucking paced really well. It was seamless, scene to scene. It just moved very like stream of conscious. It just like it was like my eyes were just like it was. Just, I don't know how to explain it, but it just was edited so well from scene to scene, shot to shot. It flowed really, really well, and it stuck out to me in a really good way. And that's usually not what people say about editing. Like if you notice it, it's bad. But I noticed it, and I was like, "Fuck, this is so clean. This is really fucking clean." I really liked it. So you could say how terrible it was, blah, 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 blah. But I liked it. I didn't really like it. I respect it. How about that?
Well, that's more that's a weaker choice. I'd rather you liked it and you didn't respect it. Oh, that's fascinating, Keith. We should do an episode on it because it was certainly a hot topic, a hot button issue of the last month or so of the year.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's not in the conversation more. It feels like a very Oscar film. It feels to me, and again, I suck.
I think it's too much. It's too much.
What you just think like the stuff that's too much is too much?
Yes, the 3 especially scenes. Although I think there's a couple more.
There's a handful.
You think of immediately
like
when you go those Saltburn scenes. Those are too much.
Well, but let me ask you, what is and I've never seen this, so I've never seen the film, so I ask sincerely the difference between that and what was it, Zone of Interest? Is that the one that you were just saying that was really uncomfortable and really like The Lobster and just like hold you in that place of uncomfortability? If that's a word, it's not.
Discomfort. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of differences, but Saltburn to me it's not those scenes aren't doing like number one, those scenes are just there to be there. Those scenes are there to shock. Those scenes are there to perhaps titillate some weird people, but those scenes are not really you can say they're in service of the story, but I think that's a stretch. I don't think that any of those scenes need to be there. I think that is all three of those most graphic, gross scenes are just like, what if we did this? Holy shit! Let's just do it. Does that seem like a good idea? Let's do it. Leave it in. Like it's just like trying to be shocking. Saltburn has a lot going for it. I think there's a lot of like technical beauty to it. I think so much of the cinematography.
Yeah,
is
cinematography's great too.
Really beautiful. I think it's a big swing, which, you know, I love big swings. So I respect that. I just think that it is trying so hard to be a dozen different things. It's trying to be profound. It's trying to have commentary on society and eat the rich. It's trying to be sexy and titillating. It's trying to be this movie about an obsessive character who, and it's trying to shock you. It's trying to be cool. It's trying to give you memes and gifs that the young people get. Like, it's just trying so hard. It wants to be so much. And as a result, it kind of reeks. I left with it, my clothes stinking a little of desperation, of look at how artistic we are, and that. So I would love to talk about it more with you.
Well, then we should, because I see where you're coming from. I think you're taking it too far. I think you're putting.
I think Emerald Fennell took it too far. I think the director took it too far when she had an extended close-up of Barry Keoghan, who is one of the best actors of this generation, tonguing a fucking dirty drain to get the semen. Gotta get the semen.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, I thought fucking the grave was the worst thing.
The middle one was the worst one for me. The woman, the girl, when he's hooking up with that girl outside.
Yeah, and when he said he's a vampire.
Yeah. The shit was repulsive and yeah. I think wholly unnecessary, and not even particularly realistic. Like, all of it's bad. We don't have to get into it.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, we should just do an episode about it because, like, I disagree. Like, it doesn't need to be realistic anyway.
The only thing that makes me not want to do an episode is I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it again, which I have made a very self-important vow to never do again. So that's fascinating, Keith. What a year! What a year!
What a year!
Capper. The easiest layup for number one is Oppenheimer. I think Oppenheimer is a great example of. I mean, it is the perfect example of what Christopher Nolan does best. Christopher Nolan, at his best, makes big, exciting, entertaining films that also make you feel and also make you think. And I think that is what his strength is. This Oppenheimer, in so many ways, is everything I think a big movie should be. I think it was a singular experience. I was fortunate enough to see this in theater, 70 millimeter. It was loud. The room shook. When every time something was happening, and the static and the bomb and the energy and all that shit. And then Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt and Robert Downey Jr. came out, and we all spoke. It was very nice. But in all sincerity, I just think there's a reason why it's kind of the movie of the year, and it's because it checks all the boxes. I've come to a point, maybe slower than many others, where I'm just so grateful for Christopher Nolan and what he does. It is such it's a treat that there's still a filmmaker like this that makes these big films that aren't just spectacle, that have a lot of heart and brain and feeling. I think I said in one of our earlier episodes, I walked out of the theater just fucking vibrating, like I was just like whoa, the power of movies, like that. This is the power of movies movie, and we can't take those for granted because those are very few and far between. My number one best film of the year.
Yeah, great. Good stuff.
You who just watched it on a plane last night, please share.
No, I know. Anything that I say, I liked it. I agree. I think Christopher Nolan is the reason to watch this movie. Like, the way that he approaches filmmaking is amazing. He's got a style and a sense And it's great, and I love it. And I love what he does. He brings thought and intelligence and elegance to everything that he does, and it's awesome. I think he is the thing that makes this movie as good as it is. For me, and I'm not criticizing the film, I'm just saying for me, the only thing I will say, I don't know if you have something in your eye or you just roll it, or you're just already upset about it.
No, I was just scratching.
Okay. But for me, you're just like, oh God, this motherfucker.
My temples hurt.
It was just, I didn't get the same feeling of like, whoa, this is what movies are made of. Like, again, I saw it on a laptop, so maybe going to the theater and having Robert Downey Jr. sit on my lap may make me feel differently. So maybe you're a little skewed in that sense. But like just watching the movie, it felt like a lot. It felt like a lot of information very quickly. And it felt, I don't mean this as like an insult, because I think it's the right way to do this movie. So I'm agreeing with it. I'm just saying it is what it is. It felt like no breath. It just like it just went dense subject material, just bang, 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 bang. Go, 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 go. There was never a moment that I can remember where it's just like, where are we? What's happening right now? Like it just, and that's probably the right way to tell this story because there's probably not a lot of drama or action. I feel like all that shit is manufactured by Christopher Nolan, like, and his storytelling. So the way this story is being presented gives you the energy and the excitement and the drama and all this.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to do it that way. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's like, it's going. Like, what is happening? Where are we now? What? Oh, we're all in different place, different information about quantum mechanics and quantum physics. And it's just like, okay, I'm not this smart. I
don't think you have to know that stuff. I don't think you have to understand, really.
I know I don't have to build the bomb myself, but I just, in general, that was what was tough for me to kind of wrap my arms around and like feel all this power of the movie. Like it didn't feel like a big movie. It just felt like an interesting story that was like an interesting director's interesting take on this story. You know, I don't know. I'm splitting hairs here maybe, but
sure.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm clearly wrong because everybody loves this fucking film. It's gonna win Best Picture. I get it. Like
it's probably gonna win Best Picture. But yeah, it's part of it is just how you watched it. I tease you about it, but like it's never gonna feel like this thing if you're watching it on a computer.
And I agree.
And then, like with most Christopher Nolan films, which I've just espoused my love for most of them, you feel so much. Like they're the perfect definition of I walk out and I'm just overwhelmed. Oh my God, that's incredible. That's the best movie ever. But then, like most Christopher Nolan movies, you think about it for a while and you start to think about things that didn't make sense. Or I have things I can nitpick. I'm not like this is perfect. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's the best film of the year. I think Zone of Interest is the best film of the year. But it's just like the combination of best, favorite, important, impactful,
of course.
all those things.
Yeah, it is the film of the year.
Yeah, the
Oppenheimer is the film of the year.
So like, there's things sure that I got to the end of it and I was like, I don't really know what he did. like why was he so integral to the making of this bomb? He's just the smart guy that brought everybody together. Yeah. It's neither here nor there. It's just
he's the Belichick. He's the Belichick of
he's Belichick that shit. R.I.P.
For those football fans.
All right.
There you have it. Another year, another amazing list of my best films and Everett's, I guess, mediocre films, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But we learned a lot about Keith today. Mostly, he's sick, a disgusting individual.
Yes.
No, this is great, Keith. It's a good time. Thank you all for checking it out. Please hit that subscribe button and hit us up on Patreon and follow us on Instagram and make our dreams come true. You know what I mean? We deserve it.
Make my dreams come true.
Go watch the worst episode. It's gonna get weird.
It's gonna get so weird.